So next up, we're going to learn about hashing. Now in this, we're going to talk about each and everything of hashing. So we're going to talk about hash table, hash set, what is the similarity between hash table and hash map and hash set. We're going to talk about each and everything in details. So set interface and everything we're going to talk about in detail, so that you can solve any kind of problem using these techniques. If I use these techniques wherever, so you can able to see these lectures and understand each and everything. So hashing is a technique of mapping keys and values into hash table by using a hashing function. So it is used for fast access of element, which depends upon the efficiency of the hash function. So hashing is the process of converting an object into a numerical value called as hash code. So hash codes are extensively used in various data structures and algorithms to improve efficiency and enable quick access and retrieval of data. That's why we use hashing. So Java provides built-in support for hashing through the following mechanism. So hash code method is there, hashing function is there, hash map is there, hash set is there, hash table is there. So we're going to see each and everything one by one, so you will understand better. So we're going to go to the VS Code and we'll implement each and everything. So first up, that is the hash table. So a data structure that stores element in key value pair. So as we said, why we use hash table, only the basic funda is we want to retrieve data and access data very efficiently. So this data structure help us to do that. So that's why we use hash table, hash set and hash map also. So a data structure to store elements in key value pair. In hash table, key is a unique integer that is used for indexing the value. Value is the data that is associated with the key. Now what all this means is, until unless I go to the VS Code, you will not understand. If you understand also, that's very good. Now let's jump to the VS Code and see how we are solving each and everything and how I'm explaining stuff, so you'll understand better. So thank you. Let's jump to the VS Code. So let's talk about hash code method a bit, then we're going to implement the hashing function. So we're going to talk about the hash code. All right. So in this, let's say, in every class in Java inherits the hash code method from the object class. So whenever it inherits hash code method, like it is from the object class. So hash code method calculate and return. So what it works is it calculates, it's like this method, this is a method. All right, so this method calculates and returns an integer hash code value for an object based on internal state. So it returns what? It returns an integer hash code, returns integer hash code. All right, by default it uses the memory address of the object as hash code. However, it is common practice to override hash code method in custom classes to provide a more meaningful hash code implementation. So there is an implementation of hash code also that is bit different. You can see over the internet how that function works, but we actually, if we that sometimes we just directly use it. Next up, that is hashing function. Now this is, we're going to see how this is implemented hands-on. All right, so in this hashing function, like Java provides a set of hashing functions that java.util package, including objects.hash, arrays.hashcode. These are the packages it includes. So this function can generate hash code for multiple objects or arrays by combining the hash code of their individual element. So this is the work of hashing function. Okay, let's go to the VS Code and see how it's like objects dot hash these are the two common hashing function, objects.hash, and one is arrays.hash. So these are the two common hashing functions in Java. Let's see and implement both this hashing function and how it's happening. Let's see the output. Okay, jump to the VS Code and see here. All right, we will create a program. Let's say, hashing function.java. all right, so we created hashing function.java file here. All right, so what I'll do is I have to create the classes, I have to include the objects, I have to include the arrays, because we're going to use those hashing function, objects.hash and arrays.hash code. We're going to use that, right? So for that, what I have to write is I'm going to write import java.util.objects. so this is how you're going to include the objects and arrays. You already know that import java.util.arrays. this is going to include the array. Now what I have to do is I'll write one class, and in that class we'll write each and everything. So let's give it access modifier as public, and class hash function example. We are saying functions example, and inside this we're going to write each and everything. So we're going to write our main method here. So what would be the main method here? We're going to write, now what we're going to do is we're going to write the main method, and we're going to use this function. One is objects.hash, another is arrays.hash code. all right, those are the two most common function we used in hash function. all right, so what we're going to write is public static void main method, and in this string argument args. inside this we're going to create, this is going to be done with example. We're going to write example using objects.hash. all right, what I'm going to do over here, so here we're going to write, let's say int, I write hash1 as one variable, hash1 as one variable, and here I store in objects.hash. this is the method I use, object.hash. all right, and I want to give arguments over here. So what are the arguments? Let's say I give 42. let's say I give any I mean string value, let's say hello, and I give as a true value over here. okay, that's the boolean. all right, so these are the values I given in the hash1 function. Now I want to check the hash code for those, right? So what I'll write is system dot out dot println, and in this I want to write hash using objects.hash function, and that's going to be what that's stored in hash1 variable, right? hash1. now I'll end it over here. So this is going to be done for the example of using hash object.hash. now if I want to check hash code using array, right? so what is that? So I'm going to write example using arrays dot hash code. So I'm going to declare an array. Let's say int, I write int array, and let's say array name to be array only. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize some values over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. End the array, and I'm going to, let's say I'm going to store in hash 2. 2 is the variable I'm taking, and in this what I'm going to write is arrays dot hash code. So this will give, here will give the array input, right? So what you're going to pass array directly over here. Now if I print this, so what I'm going to write, system dot out dot println. I need to print this, so I'll write hash using arrays. Okay, so what would be the result? Result is stored in hash 2. Okay, now what actually happening is, like in this above example, objects.hash, and we use two things. So object.hash, this function accepts variable number of arguments and calculate the hash code by combining the hash code of its argument. The order of the arguments affect the resulting hash code, so it returns an integer representing the hash code. Now this arrays.hash code, this function calculates the hash code of an array by taking into account the elements of the array. So it considers the length of the array and individual value of the elements, and it returns an integer representing the hash code. So the example here, it shows how to use these functions to generate hash code. In the main method, we generate a hash code using object.hash with 3 arguments, that is integer, string, and a boolean value. We also have generated a hash code using array, and finally we printed that. Okay, one more thing to note here is the hash code generated by this function may vary between program execution due to factors such as internal implementation and system dependent behavior. So your hash code generated may be different. Now question is, why this hash is made? Like, what is the importance, like why we create hash code, like what is the need of hash code? We are doing this objects.hash, arrays.hash to find the like hash code of this whole elements together, and to get arrays hash code is going to be there. So what is the use of it? So the basic application of hash code is lots of places, like security, database, file system, distributed computing, everywhere. Look, okay, let's talk about the security. Like hash codes are used to verify the integrity of the data and ensures that it has not been tampered with. For example, many password storage systems stores a hashed version of user password instead of password itself. So when a user logs in, their enter password is hashed and compared to the stored hash. If they match, the user is granted access. Why it is stored in hash? Because if someone hack the system, so they it's written in they cannot decode that, so that's why it is written that. Okay, it's used in the database also. So hash codes are often used as key in database to quickly search for and retrieval record. For example, if you have database of customer information, you might hash code based on the customer's names or ID to quickly locate their record. And one most important thing is hash codes are extensively used in blockchain technology. In fact, the core of blockchain technology is built on cryptographic hash functions. So in a blockchain, each block contains a unique hash code that is based on the contents of the block. So including a reference of the previous block hash code, this creates an unbreakable link between blocks, so forming a chain of blocks, hence the name blockchain. So do you understand why the blockchain term is coined? Okay, I'll talk about this again. So in blockchain, each block contains a unique hash code, and it is based on the contents of the block. So including a reference to the previous block's hash code, this creates an unbreakable link between blocks, so forming a chain of blocks. Hence, that's why this is named as blockchain. All right. So the hash code serves two important purposes in blockchain. One is data integrity, and second is consensus mechanism. Now you don't have to go into it. In consensus mechanism, there is going to proof of work, proof of stake, different things are there, so you don't have to go into it. What does that mean? So data integrity means is in the hash code ensures that any changes to the data within a block will result in different hash code. Thus, if someone attempts to modify a block in a chain, the hash code will no longer match, and it will obvious that block has been tampered with. So you can understand why we generate hash code for this, different here integer we have taken, so it will create hash code one thing. So if you generate password this way, so that will be stored in hash 1, and if user write it, so that will be matched or not, that will be checked. Okay, few things to talk about in hash code. I'll talk about in detail because we're learning hashing in detail. So let's talk about about the hash code more. So what in computer science, a hash code is a fixed size numeric value that represent a data item such as string or object. So you can understand is determining string or integer or boolean, right? So this is going to give a particular fixed size numeric value. All right. Now hash codes are often used for indexing and retrieval of data items in hash tables, which are data structures that provide fast access to large amount of data. So you might have thought that how Google retrieves those data. They got huge database. How they retrieve? Did they do with linked list or arrays or what? They might use HashTable or something, right? So HashTable is there, HashMap is there, both are similar kind of things only. I'm going to talk about it more. All right, the hash code of an object is typically calculated using hash function. So you can see we are using hash function. What we are creating hash code, so we using two hash function. One is object.hash, another is arrays.hash code. So these are the most commonly hash functions we use to create hash code. All right, so here we are using this two, which takes an object data and input and produces a unique or a nearly unique integer as output. So it is not necessary that it will produce unique output every time. So this integer can then use to as index in a hash table and allow quick lookup of the associated data items. Now where this hash code are used, these are used in the hash table. You can understand. So next thing is, if I talk, hash codes are widely used in different programming. You say it Java, you say it C#, where they're used to implement data structures like HashMap and HashSet. So their hash codes are used. In these cases, the hash code is used to determine the bucket of an object should be stored within the data structure. So when searching for an object, the hash code is used to quickly narrow down the search space, resulting the faster retrieval of the time. So by now you have understood why hash code is more important and why we are converting to hash code from hashing function, right? Because data structure like arrays or linked lists may be more slow. However, one thing I need to tell here is it is important to note that hash codes are not always guaranteed to be unique. So in fact, collision can also occur. It means two hash code of same can occur. So where two different objects produces the same hash code, to handle collision we use HashTable uses techniques like chaining, so where multiple objects are stored in the same bucket, or open addressing. That is what we called as, alternative buckets are searched until an empty one is. Next example we're going to see is about hash tables, and we're going to see each and everything. So just sit back and see what I'm trying to do. So hash tables are also known as HashMap and are widely used as data structure that provides efficient key value pair storage and retrieval. So they are implemented using an array combined with hash function. So that we already did, right? And in Java, that provides a built-in implementation of HashTable using HashMap class in the Java util package. So HashMap and HashTable is very similar, almost same in Java. Alright, let's create one program like HashTable example, HashTable example .java, and let's try to write, let's clear it out here, clear. Okay, now it's already created, right? Class is already created. Now what we're going to do is we're going to implement the hash map. So HashMap, HashTable and HashMap are same thing in Java. All right, so let's write the main method. I'm going to write the main method. Let's say public static void and main method is there. So in that, string array argument is there. All right, now after that, what I'm going to write is I'm going to create a new hash map instance. So for that, create a new hash map object I'm going to create. That is what I'm telling. So here I'll write create a new hash map. Hash map and hash table are both the same thing in Java, remember that. So hash map we write, so hash map, and what we do is we write as we're going to take string and integer, because key value pair we like enter into the hash map. So hash map is similar kind of data structure like arrays and linked list and all other data structures there. So here you can input key value pairs, right? So here I'm going to write string, and second type I'm going to store is integer. Okay, so this is I'm going to give value over here. Now I'm going to write the name of the object to be hash map, let's say, and equals to new hash map equals to new hash map. All right, and I want to close it, and this is okay, this is the creating a new hash map. Now we're going to add key value pairs into the hash table or hash map. So how to create the key value pair? For that, here I'll write add key value pair. Okay, so how to do that? What is the name of our hash map? Hash map, and we're going to use dot operator, and the put is the function to add key value pair. So here let's say I'm going to write fruit's name, let's say apple. I'm going to enter, and I'm going to enter, let's say 10, all right, as the value to it. Okay, so I'll create hash map again. Let's try to, okay, so I have to write the put function. So in put function I want to give, this is for adding, right? So here what I'll do is I'll give, let's say, banana, and let's say value is 5. Okay, this is done. Now I'm going to create one more hash map function. Let's say what I'll do is I'll just copy it so that I don't have to write each and everything. So here let's say I'm pasting it, and here I'll changing the value to orange, and here value I'm be changing to, let's say 7. Okay, Now suppose I want to access the value, of the using the key. So we can access value using the key. So key value pair, right? Key and value. So what I have to do is, let's write access value using key. Okay, here what I'm going to write is, let's create one variable, let's say int apple quantity. So I'm creating one variable that is naming as apple quantity, and in that I'm going to access the value. So one function that is used, that is the get function to access. So what I'll write is, I'll write the HashMap dot get is the function. This will give the value. So let's write apple. So this will give, like, you know, we are accessing values using key. Now if I do system.out println, now here I write system.out println, what I'm going to write is quantity of apples are going to be what? It's going to be apple quantity. That's in the variable that is stored, right? So apple quantity, it's there. Let me make it a bit bigger so that I can see here properly. All right, now this is done. This is the accessing value in the HashMap. Now if I want to update value in the HashMap, how to do it? So for update, we have another function that we know, like to insert, like, you know, add and update are the both things. So if I write here, so it will rewrite that. So I'll write, say HashMap, okay, update value in HashMap. So what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to write HashMap dot put. So put is the function we have used in the add also, you remember. So here what we're going to give is, let's say banana I want to change using the key. So key is what? Banana. So let's suppose I want to change the value to something. So I want to change the value, let's say to 8. So it will change the value of banana from 5 to 8. Okay, now let's go ahead. Now suppose I want to check if the key exists or not. So to check key exists or not, one function is there, that is containsKey. So that is what it's going to be there. Okay, so here we're going to write check if key exists. All right, so I'm going to write boolean, let's say, you know, that's going to be what? Boolean type. So boolean, yes or no, it will give the output as yes or no. So I'll write boolean, let's say containsKey, and here we're going to write, you know, HashMap dot containsKey, and that's going to have what? We're going to check if, let's say, any fruit is there or not. So any fruit is there or not, so let's write, you know, grapes. I want to check grapes is there or not. So it will give result as what? That it is not there. So I'll print it out also. Okay, so for that I'll write system.out each and everything. So what I'll do is I'll copy this whole part and paste it over here. Paste it. Now here what I have to write is contains grapes. I'll write here contains grapes, and here I'll update with this variable that is containsKey. So I'll paste it and this is done. It will check if it exists or not. Suppose you want to remove a key value pair. So if you want to remove the key value pair, if you write the key, it will remove that. So here I'm going to write remove key value pair. So for that, what I have to write is I'm going to write HashMap dot remove. So here if I write directly that orange, I'm going to remove orange. All right, ORANGE. So it's going to remove that. So here I have to delete it. So this is how it's going to delete. So orange, whatever their key value pair is going to be deleted. Now let's suppose I want to iterate over the key value pair. So how to iterate over the key value pair? So that is there. So we're going to, so you're going to write iterate the key value pair. All right, so for iteration, you already know we write a for loop. Here we want to do using for each loop. All right, so for loop, let's say we name it as, you know, all are fruits. So I'm going to name it as fruits as the name. All right, and in that, where it is stored in the HashMap object store, and in key set is the function. So that's going to iterate all over the fruits. So how I write, what is the name of our object? HashMap dot key set. This is the function name. It's going to go into it, and what we need to print, let's say we want to get the one variable, that is quantity, and in that, what is there in the HashMap object, right? Dot get is the function we are writing. So get is the function for printing the elements, right? So it is going to get the whatever things there. So we're going to write is fruits. What is the name of our, where in what we stored? Fruits. We written fruits, right? So that's why quantity. So key set, HashMap dot key set will go into it, and this will get. Now after that, I have to print the quantity, right? So I'll write system dot out dot println, and in this I'll print fruit. I'll concatenate it. I'll give some space. What is the fruit name and space, and I'll add quantity here. So this will give the fruit and quantity as well together. So in quantity, that's what number of, you know, that's there. Okay, so it has to be fruits, and in fruits, whatever the name of the fruits, you know, that name. Now suppose I want to get the size of the hash table. So how I have to do, or HashMap. So get size of hash table. So how to get the size of the hash table? Let's say store it in one variable, that's size, and HashMap dot size is the function for that. Okay, these are the functions of HashMap. All right, and I'm going to write system dot out dot println, and this is going to, here we're going to write, you know, that size of the HashMap is, and what is stored, it is stored in size variable. So this is all about it. Okay, so let's go one by one, and I'll explain once again what are the functions we have used. So in this example, what you can see, we have implemented HashMap object, all right, and the object name we have written is HashMap, and we have included above also. All right, now here string is the key, and this is the value, integer is the value. So HashMap or HashTable store, both are same thing in Java. So both, like HashMap store key value pairs, right? So it's pairs, and why HashMap is used for the retrieval of the or accessing the data very fast. Like in arrays case of, in case of linked list, it may be slow, but hash map is very fast because it's stored in what? Hash format. And when you write the key, that hash code, you remember in the previous function, like hash function, we applied that way, and here it retrieves. It's very fast because we try to get it by index, and that hash code is defined over there. All right, now here we adding what? Key value pairs representing quantities of different fruits. Now one method is there to add key value pair. We use the put method. So this put method is used, that is the definition for that. Accessing value using key with the get method, and updating the value using the same key put method. Checking if key exists using containsKey method. Removing a key value pair using the remove method. Iterating over keys using key set method, and values using the key set method, and retrieving the size by size function. So the output of the program will display the quantities of fruits, where the hash table contains specific key and the final size of the hash table. So what actually hash table is there for? Hash table, why we are using hash table? Because hash table provides constant time performance for basic operations like put, get, remove on average, so making them efficient for storing and retrieving data based on keys. So however, the performance can degrade in the presence of hash collision. Right, we talked about hash collision, that same hash code may be generated. We're going to see this example also when it's going to happen, where different key maps to the same index in the underlying array. So Java's hash map handles collision internally using the technique called separate chaining or open addressing. So this is the functionality of the Java. So it is important to know that the order of elements in hash table is not guaranteed and can vary based on various factors like hash function, internal implementation of details, and each and everything. So this is all about the hash table. We're going to see collision, each and everything. All right, so I'll save this code and I will run this code, and it will give the result accordingly. So let's wait for the output, what output it is giving out. So quantity of apples is coming to be 10. Contain grapes, false, it doesn't contain grapes is there. Apple got 10 apple is there, banana is 8, but you will say that banana was 5, but here we updated it. And why orange is not getting printed over here? Because we deleted orange. If you remember, remove the key value pair, so we deleted. Then size of the hash map is 2, right? Because apple and grapes are there, like apple and banana is there, so that's why the hash map size is 2. So this is all about it. Now we're going to see, and we're going to implement the phone book problem, that is that we do, that we're going to create like phone book name and phone number, right? So that we're going to implement, small mini project, you can say, without using hash map and with using hash map, how it's get different, we going to see that. All right, so let's jump to that part and we'll end it here, this one. Thank you.